Today is not the first time that importers and distributors have sent me stuff to review. It usually comes in the form of like little 1 ounce bottles, and I'm usually pretty transparent about that. This is the first time anyone has sent me a full 700 milliliter bottle of anything to review. This bottle of Alambique Serrano Cartier 30 was provided by PM Spirits gratis. Whence my flagging that paid promotion thing up there. Kind of for the first time in this history of this channel. Not that the fine folks at PM Spirits have told me I need to give this a nice positive review. Hey, look, if someone offered to sell me out, if they turned on the money hose and pointed in my direction, I would break right away because I have 2 small girls. I need to be sending them to college in a couple of years. I would love to have the money. But in this case, no, they didn't tell me I needed to do anything except just send me bottles, said, hey, how about a review if you get a chance? But it's not like payola is just about direct arm wringing. It's more subtle than that. I think the takeaway from that on your end is just do what you normally do, which is take me as one data point, hopefully among others. Don't take my word as gospel. Go check out other people, I'm sure linked down there or over there somewhere, who are reviewing the same bottle and see what their opinions are. All right, so this is Alambique Serrano has been putting out a ton of stuff recently. I did a few reviews of their stuff a while back, and wow, I have not been catching up with what they've been doing recently. But basically, the story here is it's a family called the Krassels up in the Cañada region of Oaxaca, making cane juice rum in a bunch of different ways, but in this case we're talking about a continuous still, which they're calling a Krassel still, but it's a continuous still. And this is very exciting for me because there's another example of this, which is Cañada. Cañada is at this point of recording, probably my all-time favorite Mexican rum. And I'm ashamed of myself that I've only consumed this much of it. This is great stuff. Is this basically just a still strength version of Cañada? Yes and no. I mean, it is still strength. It's distilled on their Krassel still. It's the same cane. I think there's some differences in production. I'm not completely sure from this little set of notes they gave me, but it's not exactly the same stuff. But I am super duper happy to try it and give it a review, and hopefully I will be given many PM bucks as kickback. All right, there we go. The problem is it needs a sparring partner, doesn't it? And I could just re-review Cañada, but I would much rather link it down below so you can click that and give the channel some more views and uniques and stuff, which always looks good to the algorithm. No, I thought I would instead put it head to head against this, which I did pay for out of my own pocket. This was a split. Père Labat from Guadeloupe. This is their organic. I reviewed their regular Père Labat, this stuff, probably a year or two ago, and I finally got myself a bottle. It's incredibly hard to get a hold of this stuff in Chicago. I did have a sip of it before I set this up for reviewing. Anyways, this is their organic. It is unbelievably expensive. This is $125 for a bottle, but you're getting something for your money. This stuff is 71.2% alcohol, as opposed to the Alambique Serranos, mere 70.3%. That is by 70% is apparently the Cartier 30 thing. I was trying to make some kind of like joke about, quartz movements in $3,000 stainless steel watches, but I couldn't come up with anything clever. If you can come up with better, put it down in the comments. So yeah, so we got a head-to-head of two PM Spirits releases, both at highly flammable strengths, both organic cane based, and both from producers I like very much. So let's see what happens. All right, starting with the Alambique Serrano, which is like 8% weaker, but still pretty darn strong. So the nose is intense, and yeah, it's nippy. I mean, this is, again, 70.3% alcohol, and you're getting most of those 70.3% of alcohol. It's, I mean, it's an austere nose, but it's in the genre of Mexican cane juice rum. It's a relatively clean nose. It's not throwing like burned tomatoes and like olive salads and stuff at me. There's lots of kind of wet gravel. There's some sage, parsley. There's not a lot of fruit on this. There is some like lime peel, maybe a little like grapefruit peel. But it's much more about like minerality and kind of a little herbaceousness. Some pepper, white pepper. There's a little, touch of like brine and fennel in this, just to remind you that it's a rum, by the way, that it's cane based. There's a little bit of a savory touch in there. There's like one slice of salami thrown in. But yeah, it's by the standards of the genre, this is quite clean. It's kind of floral too. There's a little bit of like a white flower thing. So maybe like some ground up azaleas in there. So yeah, it's austere, and it does have that nippiness, but it's not that austere, and I'm not sure I dislike the nippiness, actually. It just gives a little bit of kind of rustic punch. On the palate. Again, you were tasting that 70%. Do not doubt that you're tasting it. But it's kind of a banger. It presents very sweet. Maybe I should talk about that a little bit, actually. So how do you tell the difference between something that just presents sweet, because that's the character of the spirit, versus something that's actually had sugar added? Usually it's the nature, where's the sweetness showing up. If it's on the arrival, that is very different from it being like syrupy and cloying on the back end. On the back end, this is dry as heck. But on the front end, it does have that sense of like, almost like it's cane juice and like rock candy on the front end. But this just has a whiplash in it. You're enjoying your rock candy, and then you just get smacked in the face by like wet rocks and white pepper and herbs and flowers. And yeah, it's a little bit of a brute, this, but I cannot believe they sent me a full bottle of this, because I was going to buy a bottle anyways because I love Cañada so much. I should just buy a bottle and give it to someone. Maybe that'll relieve the weight of my soul. I don't know. Okay, let me get some descriptions. Sage, basil. So we're talking kind of mint family, but maybe not mint itself. Fennel, parsley, salted licorice. Yeah, that's the main stuff. There's like a handful of daisies in there. One green olive. Some key limes, aromatic limes. Peel, but like the whole thing. You're getting like the juice and the pulp and the seeds. You're getting kind of all that. And the mouth presence is really, really killer. It's again, kind of a bit brutal at this strength at least, but I mean, really good mouthfeel. The mouth length is tickling the back of my throat, which I always like to see. Get your mind out of the gutter. And the finish is holding on pretty dang long. It's this weird mix of like rock candy up front and like kind of brutal rocks and herbaceousness on the back end. But yeah, I think it works. All right, let's give it some water, and we'll move on to the Père Labat. 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna need at least 6 for 70%. Well, I need a little more than 6. Let's do like 6.5. I'm kind of scared to go more than that. Whew, okay. Moving on. So, it's kind of a fun matchup because the Père Labat is just, it's at least this is the places I check the pricing. It's kind of pricey. It's like, yeah, 120, 125 bucks or so, versus the Alambique, which is depends on where you're looking. I'm seeing it around 60 or so. So the Alambique Serrano doesn't really have to win this, because it's so much less expensive. It just has to come close in order to kind of look good. So let us see. This is a limited edition, this Père Labat. From a plot of land they did in apparently 2018. It's not a super duper new bottling, but it's relatively recent, 2022 or so. Limited to 1,200 bottles at 71.2% alcohol. Good Lord. Okay, here we go. On the nose, it's much more kind of overtly fruity and outgoing. It's less austere. I'm getting lime, pineapple, some kiwi, like it's not lemon. What's that? It's the older fruit that lemon is based on. It has like no pulp in the citron. It smells a little bit like citron zest, which is a little bit like softer. I got to try one like a month ago. It was fun. Just like some wildflowers. There's a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit more floral. Brings a little bit more flowers to the game. I'm going to be honest. After that the single plot I reviewed a while back, I was expecting insanity with this. Because that was a little bit bonkers. But this is not. This is much more like it's staying in that lane of, focused, clear Agricole. One thing I will say about this, it does not smell like 71%. It actually smells way less hot than the Alambique, which is interesting. There's some fennel. There's a little basil. Some brine. I mean, these are like rummy notes. You're getting rummy notes. There's something on this which is like It reminds me of frosted donuts. I know I've been bringing up donuts a lot in recent reviews, but maybe I think it's just the frosting. It smells like donut icing, I guess. A little bit of muddled mint as well. Sherry vinegar, white pepper. No, I'm sorry, misreading my notes. Whole peppercorns. So there's a little bit of like earthiness to this. Actually, a fair bit of earthiness, but it's like aromatic at the same time. It's like kind of like cigar ash from like a natural leaf Dominican Puro cigar, something like that. And yeah, at least on the nose, that 70% is not showing. Like this smells. I mean, I'm getting, alcohol nip on it, but just nowhere near as what I was getting on the Alambique. So, on the palate. The first word that comes to mind is dangerous. This really, really, really does not present 71% alcohol. The flavors are not actually that far away from what the Cartier 30 is doing. The difference is like the character of the mouth presence. This is almost silky in the way it kind of behaves on my palate. It feels like it's very poised, it's very balanced, which makes it kind of tricky to analyze. All the notes are kind of running into each other in a certain way. All right, what are we doing? We're getting. We are getting one of my favorite notes: hippie toothpaste. So fennel and mint together. I'm getting actually kind of like the Alembic. I'm getting a fair bit of like cane juice and rock candy on the front end, but it's not as much, and it kind of transitions much more quickly into like basil, mixed daisies, that hippie toothpastey thing. Rocks, gravel, like lemon lime stuff. These are converging more on the palate than on the nose. On the nose, I would still say that the Père Labat is more fruity and this is more austere. On the palate, they're closer. I mean, the fun of this for me is that it's not that crazy. Like this just comes off as a really good, straight ahead style of rum agricole that is bottled at a like brain smashing strength, but it doesn't seem like it. Like you could just pour me a glass of this, like a big glass of this, and like and a couple of minutes later I'm messed up and I have no idea what happened. Like this is, you just don't notice how strong it is because it's the delivery is so it's been 20 years since, or like the better part of 20 years since Spirits YouTube, Whiskey YouTube started. And we have been shitting on the word smooth for that entire time. And I think it is high time we allow smooth to be like a positive term again. This Père Labat, this is smooth. This just feels nice in my mouth. It feels like I am having my mouth massaged by lemon, lime, and rocks and herbs. And it's great. I really like it. It's smooth. And if you don't like my saying that, screw you. Sorry. I don't know which one I like better. They're close, which, you know, given the price difference, favors the Alambique. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little more than 6. Here we go. 6 and a bit. All right, let's go back to the Alambique. All right. Hope you all have had a good week. And let's get back to it. Alambique Serrano Cartier 30. Final notes and a score. So now that I've added water, this actually fruities up a bit. It's still very nippy, actually. If anything, it might actually be a little bit more nippy than it was at 70-odd%. But right now, I'm getting a lot of like leaves, like forest leaves, and there's a kind of, what fruit is that? It's like orange, but Mirabelle plum, but also like some regular plum in there too. Plus herbs and rock dust. So yeah, on the nose, it's actually like cracking a smile. It's a lot like fruitier, friendlier, but still kind of nippy. Okay, on the palate. Yeah, that's terrific. This develops a kind of like numbing Sichuan peppercorn thing. Like it feels like the entire front of my tongue is tingling a little bit, which I appreciate. Beyond that, not a whole lot of change. It's still just like it's not like the mouth presence is any less impressive on this than the Père Labat. It's just much more punchy and kind of aggressive and in your face, and yes, nippy. Licorice steps forward a little bit with water, which I'm okay with. So I can't get to 90 on this. I don't think I can get to 90. I want a little bit more complexity. A little bit more like of a story in the development. A little bit more, but like a little bit more like little details in the corners. But this is a hell of a rum. At $60, yeah, I like it better than my beloved Cañada, and I like this a lot. So I'm gonna give this 89 points. And yeah, take that score for what you will, given the fact that you know the bottle was provided and all that. But yeah, this is good stuff. All right, moving on. Let us see if the Père Labat can topple it. On the nose. Now it actually gets a little bit more nippy than it was neat. Just a little bit more. It's still nowhere near in the same league as... Yeah, this is... The Alambique Serrano just shows the alcohol more. Which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it is what it is. Less development on the nose on the Père Labat. It's a nice note. I mean, it just smells like the best gimlet ever made. It's kind of got that like lime cordial plus gin kind of thing going on, which I appreciate. On the palate. What's weird about this is these two, yeah, and I think I mentioned this before, in terms of their flavors, like the notes, are really similar. Like if I just list them off, you would see a huge amount of overlap. But there's a different character in the delivery of those flavors. God, this is so silky. Yeah, you could get in a lot of trouble with this stuff. I mean, at 120 odd bucks, maybe not too much trouble, but yeah, this is as easy drinking a high proof Agricole as I've ever had. Development, not a ton of development on the palate versus what it was neat. Maybe a little bit more fruitiness. The fruit from the nose kind of stepping forward a little bit more. Let me try the Alambique one more time. I'm trying to break these two apart on quality, and I don't think I can do it. They're just different approaches to doing the same thing. This is a punchy, kind of rustic cane juice rum, but it's a clean, rustic, punchy cane juice rum. And this is just like, this is an easy drinker for something that is bottled at this strength. I'm gonna give this the same score, 89 points, which means I think I actually like the single plot Père Labat better. I can see a lot of people disagreeing with me on that because that stuff is such a wild ride. But yeah, I'm gonna stick to my guns. Like if between the single plot Père Labat and this, if you are willing to go on an adventure, I do think the single plot is better. If you want just a really damn good high proof Agricole rum and price is no object, I think this is what you're getting. And yeah, that's where we are. Both of these get 89 points. And thank you very much to my friends at PM Spirits for sending me this. And thank you for watching and supporting me. Because let's be honest here, the money I get from the Patreons and stuff is kind of probably means more to me at this point than bottles being sent in by the producers. Thanks for watching and cheers.